You're listening to Top 4, a new series presented by the GamePitch podcast.
Join hosts Brandon and Eli as they build gaming Mount Rushmores every week.
Enjoy topics that range from the best multiplayer types to the top bug Pokemon.
Catch fresh episodes of Top 4 every Wednesday on the Project Nerd Network.
And don't miss new episodes of the GamePitch podcast, dropping every Monday morning.
Let's get ready to rank.
Hello and welcome to the Top 4 or More podcast, brought to you by GamePitch on the Project Nerd Gaming Network. I'm Elijah, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful friend Brandon. Brandon, how you feeling?
I'm feeling quite jolly, Elijah.
Oh, indeed you are, friend. If
Yeah.
you've never listened before, what we do is we rank video game things. Brandon chooses topics, I choose topics. We go back and forth, ranking a variety of gaming topics. This time, for, of course, the reason is the season, we picked something really cool. Brandon, what did we pick?
Elijah, we're talking about top 4 video games that we got for Christmas.
Yes, we are, pal. And the reason, there's no other reason than it's Christmas week, so that's why we're doing a Christmas episode. Like, it makes sense, right?
The season is the reason, as they say.
Yeah, as they say, buddy. Like, it's so funny because, as soon as October's over, people are like, cool, Christmas time. And like, they just skip over Thanksgiving. It's just like, F that. It's Christmas, baby.
No love for the turkey holiday.
No love for the turkey at all. So, buddy, do you have any honorable mentions?
Well, before we get into that, why don't we just talk a little bit about what Christmas games mean to us?
Buddy, I think for me that a lot of the games that I got for Christmas were tied to consoles as well. So I think you'll notice that on my list here that a lot of them are kind of tied to that experience, maybe tied to a person as well, because that's kind of the point with Christmas. Like, it's not a gift that you get yourself. It's something that someone wants to get you, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. People say it's the thought that counts a lot of times when they're joking, but it really is the thought that counts. Like, if somebody picks out an experience for you to have as a gift, that's such a cool thing to get.
And the other thing is, I think, like, a lot of the times, like, when games, and especially us now, it's like we're older, so it's very rare that we get video games as a present for Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, it's because we have the money to buy the game, and the game's out 3 weeks before Christmas, so we're gonna buy it. We're gonna buy Cyberpunk on the 10th of December and not wait till the 25th to get it as a gift from someone. So I think a lot of these things that I'm at least gonna bring up are gonna be tied to my childhood more than anything.
Yeah, for sure. Me as well. We'll dig into that a little bit later, but yeah, I definitely wanted to sort of touch on how my relationship with video games for Christmas has changed over the years. Because as you said,
Yeah.
again, we're adults now. We work, we buy our own video games these days. As a kid, Christmas was the time where I was like, okay, these are the games that I absolutely need to get. I don't have to do chores for it or nothing. It's just going on the list, and I hope it ends up under the tree on Christmas Day, right? So those were the games that you sort of those were the must-haves when you were younger. The games that you really wanted to play.
Yeah,
and
I completely agree. I was just going to say that I think it's this thing where, like, maybe during the summer you were able to do some chores, odd jobs, mow lawns and stuff like that to get games, but there'd be this entire period where when we were younger and we didn't have money or we didn't have our own jobs, where you would go maybe from like late August to like November before, like, there was a whole slew of games that came out that you might not have been able to buy, and you just like got to rent maybe one weekend that you could then do what you're talking about, put it on that list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it was cool. I think that those games, potentially a little more impactful back then. Cause, as I started to grow older, like, the games became more like, okay, well, these were the games that, I was interested in, but maybe I just didn't get around to buying or playing. One of the games, I'll spoil it. One of my honorable mentions is Red Dead Redemption 2. My now fiance got that for me for Christmas like 2 years ago at this point, and like, great game obviously, but like, there's just so much that came out that year that like it was one of the games that I happened to miss out on until later in the year. And of course now, being an adult, out on my own, doing my own thing, buying all the video games. I don't even want video games for Christmas. Somebody please just buy me socks.
Boys, like I need some new beard brushes and some some freaking hair wax.
Yeah,
No, I feel you. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's very common. It's so funny, like the thing that we wanted. It's just like, oh, well, now I just buy them, and then now you're just like, oh man, no one ever gets me socks. Go get me some Star Wars socks. Like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, definitely. But with that being said, I think it is time to jump into our honorable mentions. I already shared one of mine, so I'll go ahead and share the rest if that's okay with you.
You know, Brandon, it's very okay because I have no honorable mentions or dishonorable mentions.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm excited to hear your list then. So cool. We'll get into that. So already I mentioned Red Dead Redemption 2, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I got that actually last Christmas from my sister and super love that game. Next here I have Mario Galaxy. I actually wasn't
Oh,
the Mario fan that I always was, and this was one of those games. My grandma got it for me one year, and I was like, "Ah, Mario, that's lame." And then, of course, it ended up rocking my world. So, love you, Grandma. That'll conclude my honorable mentions.
oh my gosh! I was gonna say, I was like, oh, Grammys, Grammy gets you the galaxy win. Big ups, like big ups, Chima. Oh man, dude. So I think all of the reason I don't have honorable and dishonorable mentions because a lot of this stuff is just tied to stories or points in my life. I feel like of all the lists that we've made, like it's like the thing where you're just like, oh yeah, like it made me reflect or remember, like, oh yeah, this person did this for me, and then like not that it changed the course of my life, but like if I never got that thing, then I never would have played all the things I played, and we might not be here right now having this podcast. So it's kind of interesting to think about all those kind of tendrils and how they go.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, getting a game as a gift can definitely, it depends on who it comes from, but like that could affect your experience with the game or even with that person. So, yeah, definitely.
Yep, no, completely. So then, is it time to reveal your numero 4?
It sure is, my friend. My numero 4 is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. This is another one that my grandma got me. And
Aw.
I don't know. I just wasn't in, was not feeling Zelda that year, I guess. And it was one of the games that I wasn't really expecting to get. It was like lower on my list of things that I wanted for Christmas that year. But I actually obviously like really ended up enjoying that game, even though it is my least favorite Zelda. And it's just a quality game, and I just very vividly remember being very excited when I opened that gift.
Yeah, I think like that's one of the things. Like when you're opening a gift, like you're never gonna be sad about opening a new Zelda game you've never played before. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
even if it's even in hindsight, if it's not your favorite experience, at least like just back then you're like, oh yeah, Zelda game, let's go.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It was definitely cool. It came with the Wii Motion Plus expansion as well. That was the first time that I got to use that, so that was super cool too.
oh yeah, the Motion Plus stuff. It's like yeah, was so that was the first time you had Motion Plus.
Yeah. And then we got like Wii Sports Resort like right after that to like use it more because it was just super cool at the time.
I would agree. It was at the time it was like delivering on what the Wii should have been like 2 years ago, but it's
Yeah.
still pretty cool. It's still pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Elijah, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is a game that I was supposed to get for Christmas, but did not end up getting for Christmas. So
Oh.
let me tell you the story. So 64. This is I think either probably the second year or third year I had N64, but Star Fox 64 came out, and there was a game that I had rented a few times that I really loved, that I really wanted put on my Christmas list, and it was a game that my mom actually did purchase for me, but some neighbor put the game down their pants and walked off with it and stole it.
Wow.
Yes, one of the neighborhood kids ran off with my copy of Star Fox. And when I was like, oh, that's the one that I wanted. What happened? It was like, wait, we got it for you. It was like, what? And I was just like, what? It's not here. Where'd it go? Yeah. So
Did you ever so you never got it? Like you never showed up at like little Bobby's house one day and saw a copy of Star Fox 64 and was like, "Yo, what the hell, dude?"
I knew it was mine, but I'm very, you know,
Passive, yeah.
peaceful. Yeah. Yeah. Just like, something bad's going to happen to you for that.
Man, I hope he gets his game stolen this year.
Certainly some comeuppance came that person's way.
Definitely.
Karma will not let this stand.
Actually not getting the game, is that what makes it sort of stand out to you most, or you do
Yeah,
just
I'll always remember that. Yeah, and I think the reason that like we found out that it was definitely it's because a different present was trying to be removed from the premises in the person's pants, and I think my mom caught them. and was like, "What's going on with that?" And then like then they kind of
Wow.
like found out that this kid was trying to jack something else that was under the tree, but it was like they had already gotten like, or when that was missing, it was the assumption that that
Oh,
was what happened. Yeah, it was like a whole thing, but I'll always remember that.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Star Fox 64 is a super good game, man. I would have been hype if I was opening up Star Fox 64 for Christmas.
Yeah, so I'll always remember not opening up Star Fox 64.
Wah wah. That's sad.
Sad beans, sad beans. Buddy, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is actually going to be Mario 64 DS.
What a great choice, pal.
So this, like you said, this was tied to a console. So obviously, the year the first Nintendo DS came out,
Mhm.
I got that for Christmas that year. It was the coolest thing at the time. I still vividly remember like uh my dad's friend coming over and he was like showing it off to him and he was like, man, I think I'm more excited about this thing than he is. And I don't know what it was, but like 8-year-old Brandon was real butthurt about that. I was like, no, I'm more excited. Give me my thing back.
That's mine. Stop playing with my Christmas toy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you got a new bike and they're riding it and not you.
Yeah,
It's
and you're like, wait a second. Yeah.
we'll teach you how to ride someday, son. Like
Yeah, but man, yeah, I obviously like we've talked about Mario 64 a bunch. I won't dig too deep into that. The GS remake is pretty neat because obviously it had that thing where actually you're Yoshi and you have the hats that turn you into the different characters.
Mhm.
I think that was like the first time Wario was playable in like a mainline Mario game, first and only now that I think about it. But yeah, anyways, it was just really more just the memory of getting my Nintendo DS because man, that thing, what a solid console.
What a good console. Yeah, it's such a freaking good console, man.
It's good stuff. Yeah, yeah. What's your number 3, Elijah?
My number 3 is tied to the Christmas where I got my GameCube, and my
Oh,
mom got that for me. And I had Wave Race and Luigi's Mansion, 2 games that, looking back, I don't even really like that much now. But then I played those games nonstop. Like I played the crap out of those 2 games, dude.
yeah. I bet. I mean, when you only have like 1 or 2 games for a console, like, but the console is still new. I mean, you're just. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? Play the old console? No, thank you. I'll play Wave Race all day.
Dude, yeah, and it's the thing that like it's not that I look back like unfondly at Luigi's Mansion. It's just like spooky. Spooky isn't my main thing, but I played the heck out of that game, dude. Like I played it, you beat it and you're just like, cool, I'll just play it again. And then the same thing with Wave Race. It's just like I'm not good at this, but I'm gonna keep playing it. And that's kind of one of those fun things with launch games that like we may have lost a bit because we have so much back catalog and the ability to play old games on your new systems and all that. It's just like you had what you had, that's what you played. And yeah, like because one of my previous Christmas gifts was an N64 for Christmas and that went over so well, the GameCube was years later the next logical thing. And I love the GameCube. I think it's a way underrated console and I'll always love it.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Great console. Not the best launch lineup again. Just looking back on it. But yeah, no, that's a super solid gift.
Dude, definitely. What's your number 2?
My number 2, I'm gonna get judged a little bit for this one. It's Call of Duty Black Ops.
Okay, tell me why.
So that was the first year that I was allowed to play rated M games, and that was the first rated M game that I got. And I was like, finally, I can talk about Call of Duty like all the other kids my age, and I can play with my neighbors and friends down the street, and it's gonna be a cool, fun, awesome, great time. And I mean, obviously, like Call of Duty isn't my favorite game these days by any means, but man, I don't know. There's only one time in memory that I have been more hype opening up a present, and we'll get to that. But yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops, man, that's my number 2.
Hey, I'm not gonna shame you. There ain't no shame in your game, Brando. I'd never do that to you, friend.
All right, all right. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's also that was sort of the start of like me like really playing video games with my dad because obviously he played like
Gotcha.
a lot of like mature games that my mom was like, "Ah, no, he can't play that. He's gonna become a murderer or something." I don't know. But
And
we
then sad for her, you actually did. Puke Puke Brandon is a thing. Everybody out there, he's murdering.
No. I would never. But yeah, we ended up playing all of like the subsequent Call of Duty games that had zombies modes together. So that was start of something wonderful.
My next item on my list, my number 2, is something wonderful, and it's actually also a shooter like your Call of Duty.
Ooh, let's hear it.
So just like you, it's the DS launch. I remember my uncle getting me the DS and falling madly in love. And you'll know the game, Brandon, because we talk about
I
it a
already
lot.
know.
Metroid Hunter's demo, dude.
Yeah,
That demo
dude.
was sick. It was so good. I played the crap out. I played that thing nonstop. It's like we could probably do a like best demos like at some point, but this demo, man, I played it all the time.
Dude, it was fun because didn't it have multiplayer in the demo?
Yeah, it did. It did. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember. Yeah, again, like same Christmas, like two of my neighbor friends got DSs as well, and we like that's what we did. Like we linked up and we played Metroid Prime Hunters the demo together. It was a good time. It's a yeah sick demo. Like I really want to revisit that one actually and see how it holds up because I obviously like I played the crap out of it when it was shiny and new, but since then I haven't touched it, and I definitely like to see if it holds up.
I don't think it probably will hold up as much because the graphics are pretty rough. But what I will say is, like, I actually, because like in the full release when it actually came, it was a full game. I
Yeah.
really liked all the characters they added in, and I kind of hope they show up in Metroid Prime 4. I think that'd be really cool, like an OG like throwback to that, because those characters were like sick looking.
Yeah.
Like just I'm even looking at the art right now. I'm just like, man, I like Metroid Prime Hunters. I don't care what anyone says. That game's great.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. That's a good number too.
Pick it up for $9 at GameStop right now.
Wow, I'm sold.
Brando, you're sold. I'm sold as well. But can you sell me on your numero uno?
I tell you what, I can't sell you on my numero uno, but I can tell you the experience of my numero uno.
Okay, fine. Give me experience, me friend. Drench me in it.
So the game is Mercenaries 2 for the
Okay.
Xbox 360.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I haven't thought about Mercenaries in a while. All right, this would be fun.
Yeah, I mean that franchise is like way dead. But anyways, not the point. So that was the year I got my Xbox 360. At that point, I had the Wii, and obviously the Wii had a great life, great run, awesome games on that. But at that point in time, it was not cool to have a Wii at my age. Like you had an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3, or you were lame. And I remember asking Santa at that point, obviously, for an Xbox 360 and like a handwritten letter. That's how bad I wanted it. I wrote like an entire page's worth of pleases, like just please, like just an entire page worth. And I was not expecting to get an Xbox 360 that Christmas. My parents like downplayed it. They're like, I don't know, like I don't want you to get your hopes up and then be upset on Christmas. We were at my grandma's house that year for Christmas down in Texas, and I remember like they woke me and my sisters up to come out to the living room where all the presents were, and I was the first to round that corner, and like I stopped in my tracks when I saw that box because it wasn't wrapped or anything, because that was my Santa gift that year. It wasn't wrapped. I stopped in my tracks and everything around me disappeared, and it was just the Xbox 360 box. And I ran to it and I picked it up, and I don't even remember, like I remember it feeling like weightless because I was just so freaking hype about it. I was just like, an Xbox. And yeah, Mercenaries 2 is one of the games that I got that year with it. And again, it was just like, it was one of the games that I had for my new system. So I just played it the crap out of it.
Like the lights go down and you're just like, you're just too good to be true. You're like swaddling it like it's a baby Yoda. Like, just
Yeah.
like...
No, I straight up hugged it. Like I picked it up and I was like squeezing it. I was so hype.
That's amazing. What a beautiful story. You did sell me on it. The experience sold. By how much? How much to buy that experience?
$1 million.
Well,
I
there's
got
no cost.
bills.
You just gave it to the people on the pod for free, Brandon. You're bad.
Damn it. Elijah, what's your number one?
My number one, and this is kind of probably cheating because like it's games that I got to play on this system, but getting the OG Game Boy Color, the purple see-through one for my grandpa for one Christmas, that like my Game Boy was, I don't know, man. I played that thing so much, and it's probably the reason why I love the Switch so much. It's just it kind of takes me back to that the games in your hand kind of feeling, and that's probably why I love the DS so much, and that's why it was my number two. But the Game Boy is where that started for me, and as much as I loved, doing party games with my friends on the 64 or playing Double Dash on GameCube, that kind of stuff. It was always I guess maybe this is the only child in me, but just like it was just me in the game, and I got to have a story told to me. And even if it was more simplistic back on the Game Boy Color, it's this thing where you got to kind of fill in the blanks. You got to imagine. It's like, people reading books or, and it's, we're in a unique position because we grew up in an age that always had video games and had them established to a point where they were nomenclature. They were the mainstream. So, in the same way that kids were in their basements, like, imagining Dungeons and Dragons worlds in the 70s. I was with my Game Boy imagining these games to be bigger than they were. And I know one of the first games I dived into on the Game Boy Color was Dragon Quest Monsters DX. And I will always say that game is incredible. And I know it's a Pokemon clone, but I feel like it's better than most Pokemon games. Like, in a lot of ways. I really like that game, dude. It's so good.
That's a lot coming from you because you love Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's a straight up. So if you've never played like Dragon Quest before, it's like the monsters that you would usually have a full party of 4 like knights or like Final Fantasy style classes attacking, but it was the first time they let you capture the monsters and then build a team of the monsters. So it has like a lot of Earthbound in it, and then it has the Pokemon you capture the monsters thing, but like there's really weird and loose rules to how you capture the monsters, and then also like breeding them together gives you different monsters, which so like there's just like this like level of complexity, and like it doesn't have to make sense that you breed the robot and the knight together and then they make like this leopard thing. Like the breeding never made sense. It was like just the DNA and like the typing had to be right, and then it would breed you new stuff that you couldn't even catch in some cases. So like that game just had a lot in it, and it was like way better than any Pokemon clone should be, but it's like really good, and it had like an awesome like almost Chow Garden kind of area too, in like these little sprite monsters is like part Tamagotchi too, so it really like ripped off like 7 different things that I was just like, yeah, give me this.
That sounds awesome with the
It
way
is
you're
cool.
describing it. Yeah, I think I need to further investigate that.
Yeah, the OG one is really cool, and then they made a few sequels on the DS that aren't as good, but I still like them. And also, it's like that thing where like there's only the 150 Pokemon, and just like, oh well, where can I get more creatures like this? I was into Digimon, and then there's all these Dragon Quest creatures that have existed that I'd never like have known of, and then they're the same kind of thing. It's made by like the Dragon Ball Z artist people, and it looks great.
Yeah, man, that sounds awesome. What a yeah, what a fun episode to do, man. I have really enjoyed this one, sharing these experiences with each other, and of course our beautiful listeners. What a fun time.
I'm getting misty eyed, Brando. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry on you.
Oh, happy holidays, y'all.
Merry Christmas. We hope you get that game you want.
Yeah, seriously, it's cool that like, man, it's man. See, now I'm getting real sentimental. I was like, we're gonna be able to give these experiences to our kids one day, and yeah, oof, getting
Dude, games bring people together, and it's like even more interesting because it's just going to keep growing, and like even the ways that we can't even fathom of people engaging with games. Like I never would have thought Twitch Plays Pokemon would be a thing, or your audience donating money to you to make your game harder through mods. Like people had like modded Zelda to make you insta die, or to make the chickens fly all over the place, or to make everything slippery. Like there's all these crazy innovative things that are happening that are going to be a part of gaming going forward, and it's just really cool to like to think like we've seen almost the entire generation grow, and
Yeah.
It's cool to have been a part of all of it. I really love games. They're the best.
Absolutely.
They make me so happy.
Video games are good, and you can quote me on that.
Yes, I would say, of course, thank you to Project Nerd for keeping the lights on here. You can find me at Mario RPGino on Twitter. Brandon is Mr. Snow 97. To all a good game and all a good night. Is that what Santa would say, Brandon? Take us out of here.
That is factually what Santa would say. Thank you all again for listening to the Top Forward More podcast. We'll see you here next week, same time, same place. Hug your family. Tell your loved ones you love them. Happy holidays, y'all.